Welcome back to the On Purpose Investor Show, number 62. Wholesaling isn't the only way to get started in real estate investing. Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast. My name is Eric Vogel. I'm a real estate investor, mastermind coach, husband to an amazing woman, and often my co-host, Tiffany, and father to two incredible boys. I'm on a mission to help you become a real estate investor and not only achieve seven-figure success like my wife and I did, but to do so with intention, direction, and clarity. If you want to transform your financial and personal goals, become the version of yourself you've always wanted, and reach your dream life ASAP, then you're in the right place. Thank you for deciding to hit that play button today. Now let's begin. What is going on, everybody in the On Purpose Nation and guests and visitors that are soon to be On Purpose Investor followers? Smash that subscribe button. Was that too cheesy?
Nice plug.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Eric Vogel, and my beautiful, amazing, lovely co-host,
Tiffany. I just realized I don't think you've been doing
I haven't been doing it.
And I missed it.
I haven't been doing it, but I'm trying to work it back in.
Okay.
We've got some new intros, some new outros. We've just had a big surge of new followers and new listeners. So if that is you, thank you for being here today to take in what we are trying to put out, which is hyper-intentionality within building your dream life through real estate investing and all things investing. Our goal is to make sure that you are living a life that is in alignment with where you really want to go. So today we're going to dive into why wholesaling isn't the only way to get started in real estate investing. You know, many people new to real estate think they have to become a wholesaler to get started. Look, I get it. The traditional way of buying rentals or flips takes a ton of cash and feels risky, while wholesaling takes very little cash and seems risk-free. Many of the real estate gurus and teachers say wholesaling is the best way to get started. It might be for some, but it isn't for everyone.
Yeah, wholesaling takes a certain set of skills, which will be perfect fit for some and a terrible fit for others. It's like saying every college student who wants to be a teacher should learn how to be a science teacher. Sure, some people would be great at science, but others have different skill sets and interests, and they should find an area in the industry that fits them individually.
Right. So you can follow that typical real estate, advice and start with wholesaling, or you can learn which part of the industry is more appealing to you and your situation and take strategic action towards your goals. So which path are you going to take? If you want to learn more about how to get started the right way, then come hang out with us as we dig deeper.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, we have spent 60-something episodes talking about ins and outs, talking about, pitfalls, the creative different ways to be successful at real estate investing. We haven't really talked about some don't do this.
Yeah.
But, wholesaling does work for some folks. And we know someone that is an amazing wholesaler out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And she has a whole incredible business from it. She just took a vacation for like a month and a half. I think maybe 2 months. And they were doing 10 deals a week, something like that. And she didn't do anything. She was, sailing the coast of Mykonos.
Yeah.
It works for her.
Right. Absolutely. And that's what it is. It works for her. And she's built a great business. And if you want to learn from her, look up Vina Jones-Cox, the real estate goddess.
Yes, right.
If you want to learn wholesaling, she's perfect. And we're not by any means knocking wholesaling. That's not our intention. It is a great business if you do it right.
And real estate investors that don't do wholesaling sometimes really depend on wholesalers to go hunt those deals so that us, the end buyer, can get into a home under market value.
Right.
And the wholesaler does a ton of work.
Right.
Mailers and cold calls and all, they do all that legwork.
I would gladly pay someone a wholesaling fee so I don't have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the thing. When we started, we had clear goals of what we wanted. And for us, it was a certain number of buy and hold rentals. And we knew to get there, we had to take a certain path. So we started with where we wanted to be.
Yeah. So that is step one. We've got 3 steps we're going to break through on this episode. And step 1 is starting with the end in mind.
Yeah. So start with where you want to go.
Yeah.
And how do you know where you want to go? I mean, for us, it took us a long time to get to the point of having a true roadmap. But we knew we wanted to have financial freedom, replace our income so that we didn't have to go back to work after our first son was born.
Right. And some people out there may be lost. They're like, well, I mean, I can't really predict what I want in, 5-10 years. I can't really predict where my life's going to be, or if I'm going to get married, if I'm going to have kids. That's the whole point of it. The roadmap is fluid. The roadmap can change. But the idea is that you have a direction you're heading.
Yeah.
And my favorite quote of all time in regards to this is Yogi Berra.
Of course it is.
Not the "you took my picnic basket" Yogi Berra, the baseball player. And he says, if you don't know where you're headed, you'll end up someplace else.
Yeah.
And that's so true no matter where you are in life. And we have found a lot of success with our students and ourselves in the exercise called the top 10. Now, this is an exercise you do individually. And if you're married, y'all will both do it individually. And you just list out the 10 things that bring you the most joy in your life.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of times it comes out to not be money related.
Right.
So you learn what's really important to you. What are those top 10 things that really make you happy?
Yeah.
And you use that as your baseline for building out that 3-year roadmap of what you want your life to look like. And once you have that plan, then you can make sure that you're heading in the right direction. I don't remember all the numbers, but it's like if a plane is off by 1 degree, if it's targeting, I think it's like Boston or DC, it'll end up in New York or something.
Right.
It's crazy, but
it's 1 degree and you start on the west coast of America.
Okay.
And you end on the east coast of America and you end up almost 1,000 miles from your destination.
So knowing where you want to be is super critical. That's the first thing. And I mean, I'm sure you're wondering, how does this tie to wholesaling? If you want to pursue a life that involves running a business, then wholesaling is the way to go.
Yeah.
And wholesaling involves very particular skill sets. It involves finding deals, getting to know sellers, doing mailers. It's a business. And it can be a great business and you can automate it. And it's a fantastic way to create a living.
Yeah, with the automation, you can turn it into a cash flowing business.
Right.
But the idea with that is that if people stop, accepting offers, if people stop doing that, your business does stop.
Right. Stop doing the mailers and doing the door knocking or whatever you're doing to find deals. It's over. For traditional long-term buy and hold rentals, I don't have to continue marketing to find them. Yeah. They're just there and they produce cash flow.
Right. And we only have to turn on marketing if there's a vacancy.
Right.
Which is pretty easy to do.
There's still work with all of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that owning rentals is completely passive, but I know I don't like finding deals.
Yeah.
I like finding them on the MLS, but I'm not getting steal of a deal.
Right.
So for me and my skill set, wholesaling is just not in the cards for me.
Yeah. And we've bought from wholesalers and we have met a ton of wholesalers that send us great deals all the time. And if that is something you want to do, relationships is your number one thing to focus on. Relationships with those sellers and relationships with a buyer's list. And try to be as honest and fair with your numbers when you create them. Don't, if you're going into your first wholesaling deal, don't try to mark it up 30, 40 grand unless you get that good of a deal under contract.
Right. There's a lot that goes into wholesaling. Right. And I think it's a lot of people overlook how much goes into it. So the big thing is, though, start with what you want your dream life to look like.
And that starts with the top 10.
Right.
I do believe on our website, if you go to our products page, we do have a guided approach on the top 10. So if you're interested in us helping you through your top 10, we do have a product on our website, onpurposeinvestor.com.
Some guided questions to help you think through what is your top 10.
Yeah. And what does the top 10 lead to? What is the next step from the top 10? And that is sitting down and building out a legitimate roadmap.
Yeah.
And that is a breakdown of what steps am I taking?
Right. And we talk about all this in our book, The Pathfinder's Journey. You can read about Charlie and Liza going through these steps.
Right.
It's the steps we went through.
Right.
We heard about the top 10, I believe, from the Frugal Woods.
That's right.
And fantastic book if you haven't read it. But that helped us shape what our dream life looked like and our roadmap.
Yeah.
So we had our 3-year roadmap and we were just making sure that we were building a ladder against the right building. Yeah. We didn't want to build a business that didn't align with where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
And honestly, our roadmap has shifted over the last few years. And we're realizing the ladder that we have built on some of our properties doesn't align with where we want to be in 10 years. So we're building a strategic plan to shift out of some properties and into different properties so that we're on the right building. But it would have been a lot easier to buy what we want for our 10-year vision 5 years ago.
Yeah, it would have been a lot easier with prices, 30, 40% lower.
Yeah.
And interest rates.
Yeah, but you learn, and I don't regret any of the purchases or decisions that we made.
Not at
But
all.
if you can buy the right properties now to set you up for the exact life you want 10 years from now, you're going to thank yourself.
Yeah. And you might think, well, house prices are high or interest rates are high. I saw a really good post today on the Millionaire Mindset Club. This is page I follow, and they often post really good stuff. And he posted one that says, imagine today you went and bought something you think is overpriced with an interest rate you think is outrageous. And then try to envision yourself in the year 2035 or 2045 and what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 20 years from now, or 10 to 20 years from now. And what does it look like? You have likely refinanced it when rates went down. Hopefully rates go down at some point in the future. And they will. And house prices have probably went up and down, but overall they have probably crept up, and you have generated cash flow that whole time, and you've paid down the mortgage. And said, what is stopping you from taking that action? And it's just one of those reminders of how self-correcting real estate can be.
Yeah.
It's not completely self-correcting. It does get out of whack sometimes if you make bad decisions that are not in alignment with your roadmap.
Yeah.
But like she said, you got to make sure your ladder is leaned up against the right building. Josh Boyd, we did an interview not too long ago, and we talked a lot about the intricacies of the mindset that goes into why it's so important to make sure you're climbing the right ladder.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how far up the ladder you are. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
You might be one step from the top of the building you've been climbing your whole life. And it's okay if you take an introspective look and say, I've been climbing up the wrong ladder. It's okay. Scale down that ladder, put up a new one on the right building, and start climbing, because you're going to be so, so thankful when you do get on top of the right building.
Yeah.
And you're up there with the people you want to be with, and you're doing the thing that you really want to do, and you're filled with joy,
right?
And you're full.
I mean, that's exactly why we're here doing this podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
We could go keep buying rentals and make a ton of money. We could go flip. We could go do all the things that we've done in the past and make way more money than we make on this podcast. But
right. Well, we don't make any money on this podcast.
Fair. But this is the building we want to be on. We want to help people, and we want to, just spread the things that we have learned over the years and tie in some of the mindset stuff that has really changed our lives.
Right.
And help people do things the way we wish we had done them, and then take the good stuff that we did and learn from our mistakes and take the good stuff and move forward. So,
right.
What's the next step?
So the next step is step 2.
Wow. Good job.
That step is the skill set assessment. And this is something that Tiffany has created, and it breaks down like what you're good at, what you like to do, and what your inner personality drives you towards. And she has created a product that it will spit out a suggested area of real estate investing that might be a good fit for you. Now, ultimately, you are the decider,
right?
But it does give you a recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, personally, my drywall skills are not good, and I don't need to be drywalling. We call it our HBUT, highest best use of time.
Mm-hmm.
My highest best use of time is behind a computer.
Right.
It is not working with my hands, because let's be real, my mud and paint jobs, you should fire me.
It's like the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, it was rough. And I worked really hard, and I got high off the paint. So it was a fun day.
She had a good time.
Maybe that's why it looked the way it did. I don't know.
Maybe so.
But my best use of time is behind a computer, not working with my hands.
Yeah, it's strategic planning. It's numbers. It's, analytics. It's things that don't require you to interact with people on a large scale.
Yeah.
You love interacting with people one-on-one and helping and changing people's lives. Right. Yeah.
But when we were building our business, my best use of time was finding good deals on the MLS, because there were killer deals out there if you looked hard enough.
Yeah.
And getting killer financing.
Yeah.
But it stressed me out trying to juggle all of that with helping you in the properties. And I should have never stepped into some of those properties.
Yeah. I should have never either, because my highest best use of time, my HBUT, was actually people.
Right.
And it wasn't swinging the hammer. I'm fairly good at swinging the hammer. I've renovated probably half a dozen properties from the ground up. And I've created really good products, but that is not my H-butt.
Yeah.
My H-butt is people. It's relationships with private money lenders. It's relationships with sellers. And it's the conversations, because I gain a lot of energy when I help people solve problems.
Absolutely.
And that's something I discovered when we went through the human design on I'm a reflector.
Yo, you're going super woo right now.
Well, we're going to just touch it just a second. And so I'm a reflector. And so I have a very open mind, and that means I don't really have a lot of opinions, but I do chameleon into conversations and relationships. And the biggest benefit that gives me is that I can truly feel the situation someone's in.
Right.
And I can really, truly help them solve a problem.
Right. You have a lot of empathy. But the fun part is when Eric gets on the phone with someone that's like super Southern, because we live in Georgia and it happens. Eric turns into like the full-on country boy. And it's hilarious to watch.
Well, we also, okay, sidebar, but we also just got a lot of videos from my childhood, and I'm converting them to digital. And I found a video of me singing karaoke when I was 11 years old. And I was singing Drops of Jupiter by Train.
Country boy.
And every word that came out of my mouth was so twangy.
Yeah.
Like it was...
We didn't realize how twangy he was until our 2-year-old started talking, and then we're like, "Where's the Southern accent come?" Oh God, it's Dad.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's me. I am a true Southern bumpkin.
Yep. Can't take the Whitesburg out of him.
That's right. Whitesburg is the town I grew up in.
So with the skill set assessment, it's just a way of finding that thing that you're really good at and enjoy doing, and going all in on that. And I get like, buying a rental or flipping, it does take some money. You have to have some cash. There's no way to get around it. But you can take that thing that you're really good at and find a way to make a business out of it. And if you're really good at finding deals, go wholesale. It's perfect. You can like make tons of money selling your deals to other people. But if you're not good at finding deals, but let's say you're good at managing tenants, go do that. I mean, there's so many ways to make money in real estate. And it's finding what you're good at and you love doing. Yeah. Because then you won't burn out.
Right. Absolutely. Hopefully, people really want to get into wholesaling because it seems risk-free. It seems really cheap. Honestly, you don't have to have money to get started.
You have to have $500, $1,000 to do mailers or whatever.
Yeah. Or you could just go door knocking, and that's pretty free. You just need gas money.
Yeah.
And right on the back of a napkin and leave them on people's doors. Don't know how many callbacks you'll get, but Bill Cook got started somehow.
Yeah.
That's a plug at our old buddy, Bill Cook.
That was a burn. That wasn't a plug. That was a good burn.
But there are other ways to get started in real estate where you also don't have to have tons of cash.
Right.
If you don't know anything about David Tilney, he's a wonderful guy that teaches about master leasing. And that is a way to get into real estate investing without any cash.
Right.
You just got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's being a professional tenant where you act as a landlord.
Yeah. Highly, highly recommend his class. Even if you're not interested in master leasing, just for property management, it changed our business in a huge way. Yeah. So skill set assessment. We did an awesome masterclass on this not too long ago, which I think is on the website also.
It is.
So if you want the recording of that, definitely go check it out on purposeinvestor.com. I think it provided a ton of value to people that are trying to find their path and what ladder should they be building.
Right. I can't stress it enough. So we were both climbing ladders, when we first met each other, and we were fairly comfortable in the ladders we were on. I was chasing a dream of being a band director, and I was, climbing that ladder. I went from a small, country school to a little bit bigger country school.
So you fit in there really well.
I fit right in.
There it is.
I tell you what, I fit right into that. And you might think that this is fake, but it's honestly how I grew up. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
That's rough.
I'm done. So I was climbing that ladder and I was very happy with it, but I was working 70, 80 hours a week. Right. And when I met you and you're like, I wanted a family, you wanted a family. And we took a hard look and we're like, I can't spend any time with family if I'm at work 80 hours
You're not
a week.
going to see your kids a lot, especially in the fall season.
Right. And you were climbing a ladder too.
Yeah. I was climbing the corporate ladder and I loved my job. It was great.
Yeah.
But then when we realized you were terrible at managing properties and found that like we could build a life around this, it's like, yeah, I loved my job, but I wanted the time freedom to set my own schedule.
Yeah.
And this was pre-COVID, so people weren't really working from home. I was always working from home, but there were like expectations that I think have shifted since then. And I knew I wanted to be able to take a month off if I wanted to, or work a 3-hour day every day, or whatever, I felt like doing.
Yeah. When the kids get a little older and we can travel and them not just be a nightmare in a hotel room or.
Good God, could you imagine traveling with Otto right now?
Yeah, it would be a little bit of a nightmare.
We just did the toddler bed transition. So, yeah.
If you're religious, pray for us.
Yeah. He gets locked in his bedroom every night at 8 o'clock. And we just hope he doesn't burn down his bedroom.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's
great.
We've been going and looking for security systems to like let us know when each door opens. Like, do we put like an alarm sensor on the knife drawer? Maybe he can break into there.
Right.
I don't know. Like,
what would a 2-year-old do with free reign of the house in the middle of the night? I don't want to know. It's a nightmare. Pray for us.
That's a nightmare. All right. So what is after step 2 after you've done your skill set assessment?
Yeah. So you know where you're going. You know how you're going to get there through the skill set assessment. Do it. Like, that's it. Go Nike.
And Adrian Smoot, a really good friend of ours and a great teacher on investing in mobile homes, loves to tell this and loves to tell me this. So if you're listening, Adrian, thank you for listening and love you, man. He says, it doesn't matter what kind of action you're taking. The idea is that you have to take action. He says, take massive, imperfect action. A lot of people wait to take action until they make every step of the way correct.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're taking action. So maybe you do want to be a wholesaler and you're trying to figure out, well, what should my mailer say? Where should I put my mailers? Where should they go? Stop overthinking it and just do it.
Yeah. So I'm in a coaching program right now. And one of the things he says is 80% is perfect. 81% is wrong because you're spending too much time. So get to 80% and move on. We call it Gitmo. Get enough to move on.
Yeah, it's got to get to that 80% before we say Gitmo.
Yeah.
And we had a good friend of us call us the other day about a renovation that he's doing, and we went and visited. He did a great job on this renovation. The house looks wonderful. He painted it. It's just great. And it's his first deal.
It looks better than a lot of ours.
It does. I was just so proud of the action that he took. And there was a small little hiccup right before he listed it. And he's like, I don't know if I should, delay listing this for a few weeks and spend the extra $6,000 to fix this one issue that is not a safety issue. It's an aesthetic thing. I said, listen, we have properties that are a little worse off on the aesthetic side and they perform.
Yeah.
And I said, this is the Gitmo moment.
Right.
He's probably at 95%. And this is like a 5% thing.
Absolutely.
That in 3 years after the property has performed and he has collected income on it and he has gotten a tenant in there for 3 years and they have worn the floors down and all that. And then
I want to pause you for a second. So the crawl space.
Yep.
And one of the piers is messed up, right?
No, it's just the 100-year-old house. And one of the floor joists, of them, is not rotted. It's not termite damaged. It's just old. Okay. And it's just like, he said, it's like a 3/4 inch little dip in the floor.
So they can't get to the crawl space because it's such a tight squeeze. So the alternative is tear out the brand new floors he put in, fix it from up top, and then put the floors back down. Yeah. And we were just, when you have to replace those floors, then you can worry about it.
That's right.
But it's not a safety issue. It's just a feeling in the floor. And I mean, our old house that was built in the 20s, you could roll a marble down the hallway.
The 1920s, not the 2020s.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have to clarify that now?
I don't know.
Are we in the roaring 20s again? Roaring and surging interest rates and home prices. And politics is crazy.
So just take action. Ignore Eric. Just do it. That's really what it boils down to, is just take a step towards your roadmap. That's right. And what we teach in our program is starting with your top 10 and your roadmap, and then we chunk it down into some tangible goals and 90-day action steps. So you can just start moving towards 1 yard at a time. Because if you move 1 yard a day, you'll get there eventually. That's
right. And that 1 yard may feel so tiny.
Yeah.
Like running a deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember when we got our first deal done, we worked our tails off all summer.
6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Into marching band season. It was a nightmare. And then we sat down and we're like, we make $200 a month.
This property makes us $200 a month.
what the heck did we just do? Why
I
did we
remember
work so hard?
We celebrated with a bottle of champagne. It's like, cheers.
But that property now has appreciated a ton.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes.
we now rent it by the room, so it makes like $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know where it's going to wind up going.
That's right.
$200 a month may not seem like a lot, but in the long run, you'll thank yourself for taking that action.
Yeah. So this is our encouragement to you. Don't feel like you have to wholesale. Don't feel like that's the only way to do it.
I mean, I had someone call me, was saying that she is going to get into wholesaling because she wants to get in the business. And I was like, okay, well, is that really what you want to be doing? And she's like, no, I really want to renovate homes. I was like, go renovate homes. Like, if that's really where your passion is, you're going to enjoy it so much more instead of brute forcing wholesaling.
That's right.
And I just hope you'll not just do what the gurus say and put us in with the gurus. I don't care. I mean, find the path that works for you and what you want to build and what your skill sets are and go after it.
That's right. So hopefully at the end of this episode, you will go to onpurposeinvestor.com and go to our products page and get that top 10 so that, and maybe you've already done that, but if you haven't done that and you don't want to sit down and just think it up yourself and you want some guidance, go to onpurposeinvestor.com, download that top 10 so we can guide you through how to create the top 10 list, build that roadmap, make sure your ladder is leaning against the right building, take the skill set assessment, and then start taking action. Listen, the only thing separating you from who you want to be is that decision to take action. Yeah. And that action is small. It can be very small.
Right. Well, and I want to say, you don't have to buy the stuff on our website.
Yeah.
The top 10, you can build that on your own.
Yeah.
Literally, it's what are the top 10 things that make you happy.
That's right.
If you want a little help, it's there. Same with the skill set assessment. You don't have to have the tool that we built. It's just to help you if you need the extra push. It's just think, what part of the business do I enjoy? And find how you can do that aspect.
Yeah.
If you like analyzing deals, then figure out how you can analyze deals as your full-time job, if you will, in real estate. You don't have to buy stuff from us. I don't care. Like, it's at the end of the day, we're here to help people. And I want you to find the path that works for you to build your dream life. Yeah. And if we can help in that, I would love to help.
Yeah. And if you do, maybe you're listening to this in the year 2028 and we're recording in 2023. Right? Maybe someone was like, oh my gosh, I just learned about the on-purpose investor and I'm starting from the beginning. And you've made it to this episode and you are taking action. Send us an email. Please send me or Tiffany or both of us an email and let us know how this helped. Yeah. That's really what we're in this for.
Absolutely.
We're not in this to get your $10. We're not in this to get your $100 or $20,000, whatever. We're not here to take your money. We're here to change you, to help you change into the version of yourself that you truly deserve to become. So if you are taking those actions and we've helped you in any way, please send us an email. Yeah. Please leave a review on our podcast. Let other people know that we are helpful. That's like my main goal is to help people shift.
We built an awesome life with our rental properties and we want others to be able to live that life too.
That's right.
And it's your dream life's going to look different from ours, but it's all about living in your purpose and what you want out of your life.
That's right.
And if we can be a small piece of that, I want to help as much as I can. So
that's right. All right.
All right.
Well, that's it. Thank y'all for joining us today on episode 62. Wholesaling isn't the only way to get started in real estate investing. Here at the On Purpose Investor, we are on a mission to help you design and build your dream life through hyper-intentionality, clarity, and focus. All right. We'll see you next week. We are immensely grateful for you joining us today. If you haven't already done so, we invite you to subscribe to our show. We understand that many of you tune in regularly, but perhaps haven't had the chance to hit that subscribe button yet. Don't worry, it's effortless. It takes about 3 seconds to follow or subscribe on your platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're enjoying the show. Your support is invaluable to us and has played a crucial role in the tremendous growth of our podcast. We sincerely appreciate your assistance in any way, shape, or form. Together, we can launch this podcast to even greater heights.